Hey guys, this is Eni with a dungeon profile creation tutorial. I'm going to show you how to make repeatable dungeon profiles for WRobot. The easiest way to start doing this is to grab an existing profile. You can either use Droid's Sunken Temple or my Slag Mine Gold Farmer. It's just easy to grab an existing working profile and then just modify the targets that you want to targets and location that you want the bot to go to. So for this one, I'm going to be modifying my Slag Mine Gold Farmer to work with Ragefire Chasm. So to do this, you're going to get your bot in game, just outside the instance. These are all going to be quest profiles. So you need to know how a quest profile works. So Quester, product settings, you want to open up the profile creator. You want to open the old profile, or the profile you're going to be modifying. You're going to want to open up the quest editor and the quest order editor. These are pretty much the only two things you're going to use, unless you want to add, vendors or whatever. So it's all going to look fairly similar. It's going to start with a go-to dungeon, which will get the bot from outside, in this case, in Orgrimmar or Kalimdor, into the instance itself. It's then going to pulse. It's going to wait. Once it's in the instance, it's going to go for boss number objective 1, 2, 3, 4. It's then going to exit. It's going to wait 2 seconds, reset the instances, wait another 2 seconds, maybe try and sell something, then go back to step 1 where it does the entire process again. Okay. Now, what needs to be understood is because there's no actual framework, there's no quest log that WRobot can go in and look at the memory for. We need to use specific is complete conditions. Now, so for the go-to dungeon, if we actually look at this quest over here, of course there's no World of Warcraft quest that is, hey, walk into walk into Ragefire Chasm. You're going to have to modify this is complete condition. At the moment, it's actually correct saying Orgrimmar instance. However, if you want to do, Stonecore, it's called Deep Home instance. You need to change this last bit here. Now, the way to get your location is to open up WRobot, Tools, Development Tools, and there's a really fun tool called Me Target Position. So at the moment, I'm in Orgrimmar, which means I'm in Kalimdor. However, if I run into here, and do it again, I'm in Orgrimmar instance. So what I need to do, so for my go-to dungeon, for it to be complete, all I'm saying is this step is complete when I'm inside the instance, which means the bot will mark the step complete and move on to the next one. Okay, so to get it to actually run in, there's 2 ways to do it. The first way is to join a raid group, so you can't actually walk through the dungeon. The second one is to modify it all by a notepad. So what I typically like doing, this will just give me a second to rearrange everything, it's quite hard to do it all on one screen, is it's going to be 2 hotspots. One of the hotspots is to get to the dungeon, the other one's to walk through the portal. So you want to add a spot there. Damn it. And then you want to add one as close to the portal as possible. And I'll probably have to modify that later. That's okay though. But what you're really trying to do is set the second pulse point behind the portal, so it will actually start running through. Okay, so now we're at the part where we need to start defining our bosses. So if we look at boss objective 1, we're in front of the first boss here in Ragefire Chasm. As I said before, there's no quests, there's no quest backbone you've got here. So all you've really got to work with is the is complete condition. That's a massive string, but really all you're looking at is this part here. It's get criteria info 1, and what that refers to is this panel right here. Criteria info 1 means the first boss. If we go to objective 2, it'll say criteria info 2, which is the second boss. Simply put, it just says if that boss has been marked off complete, then this quest pulse is complete. So what I'm going to want to do for boss objective 1, I target my boss, I add my position, and I add the target ID. Now I'm going to repeat that for the other 3 bosses rather. So what's going to happen is the bot will go through and it will beat the first boss. Once that part's ticked, like that right now, it'll say, okay, this portion of the quest is complete. I will now go on and do boss number 2. You're then going to complete that for 3 and 4, at which point the boss will get down to pulse. So once you've killed boss number 4, he's going to try and pulse the exit. To pulse the exit is much like pulsing the entrance. You're going to have one pulse point in front of the dungeon exit, and you're going to try and put the second pulse point behind the dungeon exit, which will make the bot move out. Like the entrance as well, you're going to have it is complete condition, not inside the instance, but the target content you're going to be going to. So in this case, the entry said complete the quest when you're in Orgrimmar instance. When I'm leaving, the is complete is going to be is complete Kalimdor. So if I go exit, so I'm going to have to change that from Draenor, because Draenor was for the slag mines. Kalimdor. You're going to save that. Oh yeah, I'm going to need to modify this as well. Now, there's a trick to getting this pulse point behind the target, behind the portal here. And typically what I do is I save, and then I try and open up this in like a notepad or an IDE. Alright, so what you can see here is go to dungeon. There's my 2 pulse points. Now if you remember correctly, I didn't actually get through the dungeon with that second pulse point, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and exaggerate. You can see we moved from X vector 1812 to 1816, so let's change that to 1812 to 1820. I'm just moving another 4 yards. 14 to 21, let's move him up to 27. 18.1 to 19.1, let's make him 20. All I'm doing is exaggerating the distance that second vector's gone to. I'm going to do the same with the exit. -6 to -1, let's go to 2, -37 to -8, -0, -21 to -15 to -15 or -10. Okay, so let's save that. We're going to reset the reset instances, and we're going to try and load that profile. So his bot state is gone. Go to dungeon. It should see that we're now, there we go, we're downloading some meshes. Give me a second. Alright, so the meshes got downloaded. We're now going to go for grind for boss objective 1, which is that first boss. Alright, so we're still coming up to completion of boss objective 1. That's fine. We're now going on for boss objective 2. I did go ahead and complete the definition for the other 3 bosses, because that's just going to be a rinse and repeat. You should be able to do that by yourself. Alright, so we're coming up for boss objective 2 now. You see that boss objective, the second objective is now complete. We should be going to boss object 3. Well, that's just disappointing. So I had to help him out a little bit there. That's probably why no one farms Ragefire Chasm. Keep in mind there's a few issues with a lot of meshes in dungeons. You don't really notice when you're playing, but dungeons are very, very, very scripted. Sometimes the meshes won't know if a dungeon has a door there, so the bot will just continually run into the door. or expect a hallway to be open or something to be available, and if it's not, the bot is just gonna keep grinding against it. So you're gonna find out pretty quickly what dungeons are and are not easily scriptable. Usually you stick to the simple ones. I mean, like I pretty much only do stone core at the moment. Alright, so the bot's finished boss objective number 4, and you can see now he's now going for that exit. Once he's going to do those 2 pulse points. As I did before with the notepad, I edited it so that second pulse point was outside the door, outside the instance. With the is complete condition, you complete once you're in Kalimdor. That'll complete that step, at which point we just loop back, go back to reset the instance, go back to step 1, and refarm the entire instance. So I'm going to put this profile just as a really simple stencil on the WRobot website, probably where this tutorial is. Probably might fix it a bit as well. It was a bit embarrassing dying. But anyway, that should be enough to get you started making your own dungeon profiles. Cheers.